Cars. We need them. They take us places. I mean, you could take the bus, but like...
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Cars. Vehicles. Automobile. Autobots. Transformers. All of these things are related to cars. But where do people that like cars find other people who like cars? Introducing car meets. There are different sizes and shapes of car meets. You have the big international meets that are known worldwide, and then you got you and your little friends going to the beach to hang out and point at each other's cars and go, hey, that looks pretty cool. And then you have small little local car meets. Whether you're just cruising down the street and find a little parking lot full of people, or you stop at 7-Eleven and go, hey, you have a nice car. But what are some spots that are reliable on Long Island that you can find? From specific car meets and car shows, to just local areas that you can go by and always happen to see a car guy at. Here are the top 5 locations, in my opinion, on Long Island for car meets. And to show how serious we are about this, we are going to rank them on my car enthusiast locations tier list. We have 5 locations set up. First, we have 7-Eleven. This doesn't have to be a specific 7-Eleven. Any 7-Eleven will do. The specific one I'm talking about is the one in Bayshore, because that's where I saw a cool Mitsubishi. The next one on our list is the New York International Auto Show. Getting as big as possible, an international auto show held at the Javits Center. It can't get much bigger than that unless you live in LA. Next we have Captree Park. This is just a local meet, but it's pretty reliable. You can find people there. We're going to go into depth on all 5 of these, but first let's give a little rundown on each of them. Next we have Cars and Coffee. This is just general car and coffee meets. They're everywhere. You look it up on Facebook. You type in, hey, Cars and Coffee in my location, and you will find a list of places and times to meet. Just get ready to get up early, but it's always a good time. Lastly, we have Tobay Beach. This is a car meet that they hold, it seems every year when, when you're able to. But yeah, these are the 5 locations we will be grading. The first location we will be talking about is going to be the Cars and Coffee, because this can be found anywhere, no matter where you live. The specific Cars and Coffee I went to was in Oceanside, and it was a nice spot, a relatively nice day, a little rainy, or at least I thought. Now I get there 30 minutes after the car meet is supposed to begin, and I'm stoked. I park, I walk across the train tracks, I'm walking down the road, and I find a parking lot. Now I don't know if it was because of the weather, it was drizzling, but I mean the drizzling stopped by the time I got there, or if it was due to something else. Maybe this was an old time, but the time listing I saw seemed to be accurate. It said this day, this time, but I was out of luck. But the good thing about Cars and Coffee meets is even though I was there and no other people were there to meet, you can still look at the cars in the parking lot. And I think that's a overall theme you will see, that cars are wherever you can find cars. Sure, it might not be a dedicated meet, but you will always find something that's up your alley, especially if you're into cars in the first place. And if not, hey, you have a coffee shop nearby, buy a donut, I don't know, what do you want from me? For that reason, I'm going to say that Cars and Coffee is on the upper end. It's going to be A tier. Because they're local, they're fun, they're relaxed. The only reason it's not S... For this reason, I'm going to put Cars and Coffee right in the middle in B tier. It's local, it's great time, but they could be unreliable. It all depends. They're kind of the sweet spot, right in the middle. Now remember, in my tier list, B is not bad. This is good. When you get to C and D is bad. These are just extraordinary car shows, car meets. Speaking of car shows, we'll now move on to the New York International Auto Show. Now for me, this is going to be A tier. Now the International Car Show, the International Auto Show, meets once every year, about the same time, around April. And it is, like it says, an international auto show, meaning you see cars from BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Toyota, Ford, Chevy, all these different nations, and even new startups. We saw one called VinFast, and VinFast is a Vietnamese company making electric cars. Overall, when you go here, you're going to see all the newest and greatest cars. We saw the new Corolla, we saw the new Tacoma, all these different cars. The new Mustang, I mean, it's an SUV now. It's not really the traditional Mustang, but it's still a Mustang, and it was there. There are so many different cars that you can find. So many new cars that you can find. Some that you won't even know are coming out yet. It's a great place to go, and because it is a set time and place, this will always meet. Much more reliable than the Cars and Coffee, because Cars and Coffee can get canceled. The auto show, for the most part, will not get canceled, will not get moved. It's those set days, that set weekend, and that's it. The only reason it's not an S tier spot is because, like I said, it only meets once a year. If you can't go, well, you're out of luck. Luckily, the tickets aren't really that expensive. It cost me about $12 to get in, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a great time. Plus, you're in the city after. After you're done at the auto show, you can go explore NYC for a little bit. So that's why we're going to rank that as A tier. Moving right along, we're going to go to Tobay Beach. Now, Tobay Beach, this was my first time attempting to go to the Tobay Beach car meet, but it seemed pretty reliable. I mean, it was listed, it had an official site and everything. On my way to it, there was a bunch of signs, lit up signs and cones out saying, hey, if you're going to the car meet, it's on your right, have fun, enjoy. Now keep in mind, I got there about the middle of the car meet. The car meet was scheduled to go on from about 11 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and I got there right around 3:30, 4 o'clock. And when I tell you that there were 3 cars in the lot, there were 3 cars in the lot. Four if you count myself. Now, I'm not sure if it was just a small turnout because COVID just ended, but obviously, I'm going to be a little biased with this one, and I'm going to put it in B tier. The reason I'm going to put it in B tier is because, you know what, on second thought, I'm going to put it in C tier. Because first off, I don't have a good, I didn't have a good experience with this one. It's not their fault, like I said. Could have been a mix of things, maybe just not a big turnout because of COVID. What have you. But the reason I'm going to put it in C tier is because, like the auto show, this was listed for once a year. As far as I'm aware, it was just listed. This was the day to go. If not, oh well. And it didn't meet. Or at least didn't meet for very long, unless people were there for 1 hour and left. So unlike the auto show, at least the auto show is reliable and you know it's going to happen. You pay for the tickets, but hey, you're getting what you paid for. Here, you're not paying nothing, but that doesn't mean it's going to, it's going to happen. You might go out there and all of a sudden, well, there's 2 people here. So that's why I'm putting it in C tier. Moving on from there, in a similar parking spot at a beach, but not the same beach, we have the Captree Park parking lot. Now this just goes for general parking lots, I'm going to say, especially in scenic locations like on a beach, because wherever there's a beach or a nice view of the water, you're going to find people trying to take pictures of their car. Ask me how I know. But with this, like the Cars and Coffee, there's not a dedicated time or place. You're not guaranteed to see people. but that doesn't mean it's not going to be a great time. The thing I love about this is that you're still on the beach. You can explore the beach, relax in the sun, look at the scenic view, look over at the lighthouse, maybe even go for a walk. It's a nice place to be in general, with or without the cars. The cars are just like an extra the cars are just something a little extra. I can't think of words. But yeah, you can't complain. It's a nice place to be in general. The only downside I can think of is in the winter, it closes very early. But then again, why would you want to be on a beach in winter? It's going to be freezing, at least in New York. So that's why I'm going to put this on B tier, because it's still a nice place to be. You're not really missing out if there's no cars there, because you're still at the beach. Just like with the Cars and Coffee, hey, you're still at the coffee shop. Now, last but not least, we have 7-Eleven. Now, 7-Eleven is interesting, because you're probably thinking, why specifically 7-Eleven? Gas stations have cars. I mean, hell, gas stations are made for cars. You'd probably have better luck seeing them at gas stations. And to that I say, you are wrong. If you go onto the Instagram of 7-Eleven, they have been embracing car culture and car nerds like me. It is an awesome experience. Seeing them post people's cars and repost them. It got to a point that people were making dedicated 7-Eleven meetups. It is honestly unreal, and at this point I have a feeling that when 7-Eleven, the date 7-Eleven comes around, you might see various car meets all over at 7-Elevens. They've really just started to embrace the car culture, despite the fact that some people like to keep away from it because of the burnouts and the takeovers, street takeovers, but they've been embracing it. They've been welcoming people to go to 7-Eleven and tag them the photo of 7-Eleven in their car, and they will repost it. It's awesome to see. And for that, I'm putting 7-Eleven in S tier. Not only because of the fact that they're really cool and like embracing the culture, but also it's 7-Eleven. Get yourself a Slurpee. The Slurpees alone put it in A tier. It's just that extra little bit.
Let's take it back to the Big Buzz. Yeah, we wanna go back to the